Give 365 is based on the premise that you just give $1 a day over the course of 365 days, and how you can pool that 365 with everyone else's and really make a difference in the lives of Memphians.
It's a way to get to know people who are in the community and the work that they do, while also being able to give back to the community.
We have an opportunity to give away thousands of dollars every year.
You can be someone who just gives and that's it, or you can be as involved as you want. It's really kind of a choose your own adventure as far as what you want to make your giving experience about.
Give 365 is a way that the average person can get into philanthropy.
Good evening. I'm Bob Fockler, president of the Community Foundation of Greater Memphis. Welcome to Memphis's fastest night of philanthropy. Now, as the video shows so well, Give 365 is special, and it's making an important difference in our community. Now, I wish we could all be in the same room as we usually are. I would much rather be lavishing food and beverage on all of you instead of sitting here in my office staring into my own computer screen, which is all I've seemed to do for the last 13 months anyway, but someday soon, I hope. Now, the Community Foundation launched Give 365 with about 30 members in June of 2010. We now have 322 member households. Give 365 unites and informs emerging philanthropists to make a collective impact on Greater Memphis. That's just another way of saying together we can do more. Of course, the most tangible example of that is the $63,300 that we'll be investing in new programs this year. Actually, we'll starting with that tonight. And that amount comes from two sources. First, half of all of your gifts this year have gone directly into that grant pool. The other half went into the Give 365 endowment. It's been growing since day one. Today, the endowment stands right at $740,000. The income from the endowment this year was over $28,000, which is actually up from last year of $25,000 and change. So that money goes directly into the grant making fund as well, and that will continue to grow in the future, becoming an increasingly important source of funding for Give 365 programs. As you know by now, the theme this year, chosen by you, is equity through access, projects and programs that increase access and or elevate the quality of life for communities of color. 65 applicants submitted proposals, and 15 finalists were chosen by our intrepid grant review teams. These are the givers that spent countless hours reading and discussing all the applications, narrowing the list to the finalists that you'll hear from tonight. And I really want to thank all of the grant review team folks. Really appreciate your service. Now, we may not be serving wine tonight, but not everything will be different. As in the past, you'll get to see some of our members and learn about the amazing work that our nonprofits are doing in the city. So the evening will move pretty quickly, so you hang with us. And just a reminder that this evening's event is streaming on two platforms. We're live both on the Community Foundation's YouTube channel and on Give 365's Facebook page. So if you experience any technical difficulties on one, hopefully you can catch us on the other. This year's grant theme is especially timely because of the work that Give 365's advisory team, the A-team, has been focusing on for the past year. To talk more about that, here's our A-team chair, Alex Willis Boddie. Hey, Alex, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you this evening, Bob?
Good. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Alex Willis Boddie, and as Bob said, I'm chair of the A-team. This year's theme, Equity Through Access, is not only timely, but necessary. As our country continues to grapple with seemingly endless acts of violence and tragedy, in most cases fueled by racism, inequity, and disparity, the A-team has had meaningful discussions about Give 365's role in contributing to a more equitable community, as many organizations have. This was initiated when an A-team member challenged us to determine what we needed to do to better exemplify equity and inclusivity. So to start, we made two key observations. Our membership is not representative of our city's demographics, and historically we have funded disproportionately less minority-led organizations. So in response, we've created two subcommittees. The membership committee focused on engaging a more inclusive and representative membership, and the grant review committee focused on the grant evaluation process and ways to ensure it is more equitable and unbiased. Both of these committees have been hard at work, and I hope tonight will be an example of the grant review team's efforts specifically. Give 365 is committed to equity through access. And I believe this theme will continue to be at the core of our organization for years to come. Members of these committees, the A-Team, and the entire Give 365 membership will continue to do our part in advancing equity and inclusion within our organization and our community. And I challenge you to hold each other accountable and provide feedback to help us all grow and evolve. Now, we're only a few minutes away from hearing from our amazing finalists. This year, we received 65 eligible applications, and this evening we will hear from 15 finalists, as Bob said. They were selected by our dedicated grant review team. We really appreciate their time and dedication to this process. As a reminder, following tonight's event, the Give 365 members can vote by ranking their top 5 finalists. And don't worry, if you're not a member yet, you can still join us. You can find more information about joining us in the chat. So let's learn more about our finalists. You will see some more familiar faces throughout the evening, and the finalists will be introduced by Community Foundation staff and members of the A-Team that also served as grant review team captains. So to kick things off, I will turn it over to Ariel. Hey, Ariel.
Thanks so much, Alex.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ariel Ozuzu, and I am the Director of Grants and Initiatives at the Community Foundation of Greater Memphis. Really excited to be here with you all on this evening to introduce you to some of the amazing finalists that we have for this grant cycle. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have Just City. Possessing a criminal record can prevent people from having access to a lot of things, from education to economic opportunities. Just City has been helping individuals with expunging their criminal records to help give them an opportunity at a better life. As a finalist this year, they are seeking funds for a plan to increase knowledge about their services and help reach more people. Let's learn more.
Hey, Community Foundation and Give 365 members, Josh Spickler with Just City. Thanks so much for this opportunity. It's great to present to you and talk to you. I really, really wish we were at a happy hour together. I'd be more relaxed. Many of you would be more relaxed. But we got to do what we got to do, right? This is a really incredible opportunity for us here at Just City. As many of you might know, we've been working on expungements for a long time. I think that fits really well with the theme this year of access and increasing people's quality of life, particularly people of color in this community. Most of the people we've been able to help over the years with expungement have been people of color. Most of the people who are impacted by our criminal legal system are people of color. So we're really excited to present what we think is kind of the next level of our expungement work here. When we started this work 5 years ago, expungements cost $450 in this state. It was the third highest fee in the country. And so through our work locally and through our work in Nashville at the General Assembly, we've been able to reduce that fee slowly. And if everything goes right, by the middle of this summer, that fee will go to zero. And so our job then becomes how to give more people access to expungement, how to educate the community about what expungement is, how available it is to them, where to go to get it. And so we're asking you to support our efforts to do so, to let people know, people who we can't always reach with Facebook ads, we can't always reach with Instagram posts, people who may respond to television ads, people who may respond to billboards. We're going to try to reach them with an advertising campaign that creates more awareness of the newfound accessibility and availability of expungement, of free expungement. And so we've worked with a Black-owned design firm here in town, and we've got ideas for an advertising campaign that will do just that. We really hope that it resonates with you because as many expungements as we've done over the years, hundreds and hundreds now, we know there are thousands and thousands of people across the Mid-South who would have better opportunities for jobs, better opportunities for housing and education, and could finally leave that contact with the criminal legal system behind if they knew where to go and how to do it. So support our grant. We love your support. Thanks, Give 365. It's good to be with you.
Thanks so much, Just City. Next up is Hope House. Many of you are familiar with the work of this 3-time grantee who helps improve the quality of life for individuals and families affected by HIV. This year, they are selected as finalists seeking support for their Minority AIDS initiative. This program focuses on helping women, trans women, and all people of color get access to quality medical care.
My name is Betty DuPont. I'm the Executive Director of Hope House, and this is Mika Wren. 18 months ago, Mika and I attended a huge meeting at St. Jude regarding ending the HIV epidemic and its disproportionate effect on African Americans. A physician said Mika was responsible for her patients receiving access to all levels of care. Later, a consumer said Mika saved her life. I asked Mika, "Do you need a raise?" It is my pleasure to present Mika Wren, our coordinator of Minority AIDS Initiative.
Minority AIDS Initiative is a program developed to provide access to minority populations. I want to tell you a story about my favorite client, Jessica. When I met Jessica, she was very broken and sad and not trusting of systems. We worked for Jessica to decide to go back into medical care and to also allow her minor child, who is also HIV positive, to go back to medical care. Shortly after, Jessica was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer and hospitalized for the duration. We wanted to provide social support to make sure that her children were healthy and happy during her time in the hospital. We opened earlier, we stayed later to accommodate their schedule, making sure that they were fed and that they had proper therapies. Jessica did well in her battle against cancer. When she returned home to healthy children and a stable home. Jessica is doing well. She is 1 year away from graduating with her accounting degree, and her as well as baby are healthy and happy individuals. We're asking you to continue as a partner with us to provide resources and love to our clients. We appreciate what you do for us, and we know that our clients do as well.
Great pitch from Hope House. Thanks so much. Next up is Landmark Training Development Company. They are seeking support for their food pantry, a client choice pantry in Orange Mound. Landmark Training Development Company's mission is to create sustainable agricultural environments in food desert communities. As the only farmers market in Orange Mound with a host of different other programs, they're working towards their goal. Let's learn more.
Hello, we are Mike and Karen Menace of Landmark Training Development Company. I am the executive director and I am the certified food processor for all of our canned goods. And this Mike Menace is our gardener.
Hi. We grow various crops that make them available to the public through our farmers market as well as our food pantry. And we add value to those products by making them into additional products such as jams, jellies, and various other canned goods. We also have a variety of different herbs that we take and make into wellness products that help people who might not be interested in pharmaceuticals, or those who may just want to have a natural remedy for things. And we'll go over to the food pantry so you can look at that. This is Landmark Food Pantry. It's open Monday through Friday so that individuals have access to emergency food and no one has to go hungry. We make sure that we keep food on hand so that individuals in the community, we have no zip code restrictions. About 90% of our client base is African American. We have maybe 5% Hispanic, 5% Caucasian. And you come on back here and we'll take you outside to our gardens. We keep extra food stuff available so that we can continuously stock the pantry as need be. Now we have various tools that we use in gardening, but come on out here to the garden itself and take a look at some of the things that we grow. You see that our fruit trees are in bloom. And you can come on in here, we got some of the freshest salads in town. Plums on the plum trees, evening primroses coming up. It's a wonderful time of the year. As you step into our aqua tunnel, we have lettuce that we grow year-round. Tangerines are coming in. We've got Swiss chard that we make available to the public, and it's our objective to continuously provide fresh, wholesome food so that people have access to it. Landmark Farmers Market is the only farmers market in the Orange Mound community, and that encompasses the 38111 and 38114 zip codes. So we're happy to be able to accommodate.
Good evening. My name is Emmanuel Spence, and I have been a member of GiVE 365 for 3 years and have served on the A team for the past 2 years. Over the past couple of years, I've had the honor to serve on the grant review committee, and I've had the pleasure to learn about organizations that are really serving on the front line of our community's most serious issues. This year, the COVID-19 pandemic created larger inequities in our community, especially amongst families of color. Thus, I was really excited that our theme was equity through access. I look forward to continuing to work with GiVE 365. And I want to introduce CodeCrew. CodeCrew is led by Michael Ukwekwe, who's a executive director of color. And CodeCrew really works to empower and mentor underrepresented communities to be tech innovators and leaders through practical, hands-on computer science training. This organization requested funds to support its CodeEd program that provides in-school, after-school, summer programs, exposure events, and professional development opportunities to approximately 400 students K through 12. Many of those students are African American. Our grant committee felt that CodeCrew's application addressed the need for underrepresented communities to gain new aid skills necessary to achieve upward mobility, and we were really happy to push this application forward.
Hi, I'm Meka Egwekwe, Executive Director and Co-founder of CodeCrew. And you don't need me to explain to you how the tech sector is the largest sector of our economy today, how every business, every organization, every company, every agency requires technology, that all of the largest companies today are tech, that the pay is well above average, and that the entrepreneurship options are endless. Yet according to the Caper Center, African Americans make up just 5% of the tech workforce, just 3% of tech executives, and just 1% of tech founders. African American representation grew by only 1 percentage point in the past 6 years. And at that rate, African Americans would achieve parity only by the year 2068. And the numbers in the Latinx community are equally dismal. And what about Memphis? We'll soon be the first majority African American metro area, and the Latinx community is the fastest growing in our region. What does it mean for Memphis and our prosperity if our largest and fastest growing demographics are those that are most underrepresented in these lucrative tech fields? That's why I love the 2021 GiVE 365 grant theme of equity through access. CodeCrew was founded in May of 2015 by Petya Grady, Audrey Willis, and myself on that very foundation of equity through access. What started as summer camps at the Leicester Community Center in Binghamton have now expanded into 6 key layers. After school and summer programs that continue to this day, in-school elective programs where we go directly into schools and teach coding and computer science like we would a music or a French class. Exposure events like hackathons and Hour Code events. Teacher training where we train teachers to teach computer science in schools. Policy and advocacy where we have been successful at getting legislation passed at the state level for computer science education. And an adult coding boot camp that trains adults in 6 months to become entry-level software engineers, and then we place them in jobs that pay $50,000 a year or higher. All of this is rooted in the building of a culture of tech producers in Memphis. Our CodeEd K-12 layers are a critical foundation to this tech culture if we're going to achieve the prosperity that Memphis deserves. Our short-term goals: we want to increase the number of K-12 kids with access to computer science education. We want to increase the number of educators prepared to teach computer science. We want to increase the number of high school seniors choosing college or career in computer science. Long term, we aim to be a leader in teacher training in computer science. We seek to get computer science education in all of Tennessee schools for all kids in all grades. And we seek to become a national leader with respect to diversity, equity, and inclusion in computer science. So I am so tremendously thankful for the Community Foundation and for GiVE 365, and especially for the opportunity to share our story and partner for a better Memphis in this tremendously important way. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Awesome presentation. I now want to push forward Memphis Challenge. The mission of Memphis Challenge is to inspire and develop future Memphis leaders. The organization aims to retain students of color in Memphis after they graduate from high school. This organization is requesting funding for its Decoding Professional Cues and Messages program, which is a web-based program that aims to provide young professionals of color with the tools they need to do well in corporate settings and as they matriculate from high school and college. Personally, as a professional of color, I'm pleased to endorse their application, as I am aware of the many challenges that first generation employees of color face when matriculating into corporate America. And we felt that this application really was something that was unique and innovative and really met a need that isn't often thought about. So I want to push them forward. And again, we were really excited about Memphis Challenge.
Bronson, thank you for joining me as we introduce Decoding Professional Insider Messages, the Master Series for MC alums and emerging leaders. Memphis Challenge is a finalist in the GiVE 365 grant video pitch. And I'd like to spend a few minutes talking with you as you reflect upon your career trajectory as an MC alum, as a Vanderbilt University graduate, and as a social media specialist for Methodist LeBonner Healthcare. I'd like for you to share your perspective on what decoding insider messages means to you.
When I think of that, I really think about in every space of life, we want to be our full selves. Work should be no different, but just like every phase of life, you sometimes have to adjust or translate who you are to be an effective version of yourself in that space. And I think of a situation I was in where I always had my headphones on at the copy machine. Nothing too deleterious, but my supervisor pulled me over and just mentioned that this is not the best disposition to being in a collaborative work environment, open, friendly family environment that we had at the workplace. And now that's led me to have an office, keep my door open if I'm not in the meeting. You know, things that continue that spirit that went positive could have gone negative if I didn't have that intervention. So that's something the Memphis Challenge has always been about, giving people practical ways to be successful. And emerging leaders need this earlier instead of later so they can implement it once they know it quickly.
Thank you, Bronson, for your insight. I'm Cassandra Webster, Executive Director of the Memphis Challenge. And for more than 30 years, we have been inspiring and developing future Memphis leaders. Decoding Professional Insider Messages, the Master Series, is essential to further develop young professionals of color. The webinars, the networking, the mentorship will provide equity through access to insider information and training to master the unfamiliar terrain of entry-level and early career positions. Visit memphischallenge.org for more information.
Last but not least from our group, I'd like to introduce Pure Youth Athletics Alliance. The mission of this organization is to empower underprivileged African-American youth to overcome generational poverty. This organization reaches inner city students through a boarding school model that provides them with the resources they need to achieve upward mobility. This organization is requesting funding to sustain their programs. Understanding the plight of African Americans in today's society, especially our youth, our committee felt like their service delivery model was innovative and provided a safe place for young men to develop. We're happy to push forward this application.
Hello, I'm Melvin Cole, founder and executive director of Pure Youth Athletic Alliance. I started this organization in 2011 because I was once an at-risk youth here in Memphis. lack of guidance, educational support, and supervision. Peer mission is to empower underprivileged youth through education, mentoring, and athletics. Peer started off as a Little League after-school program and quickly noticed the learning gaps and the things that caused them and turned into a homeschool residential program. So what's Peer's secrets? The 4 R's. Relocate, relocating our kids to our nurturing environment in Whitehaven. Restore, restoring the confidence and education that they can be successful. Reinforce, reinforcing their character and education and life skills. Realizing that they can be anything in life, anything is possible. Peer shows equality by offering all of these things at no cost of the kids. I have one student here with me now, Tevin Carter, and he'll share his experience with you.
My brother and I joined Peer when I was in the 6th grade. At the time, I wasn't the best kid, but having a coach that could relate to the same struggles as me helped me on and off the field. I joined Peer for the football program, but when I graduate in December, I'll be leaving with much more. I've had the opportunity of traveling and meeting many different professionals in different fields. None of this would have ever been possible had I not joined Peer.
Yes, opportunity saves lives.
Awesome. Next up, we have Creative Aging. Through their partnership with Alzheimer's and Dementia Services, they are enriching senior lives through arts at 2 adult day centers here in Memphis. They are looking to increase the number of high-quality arts and music activities they offer to people suffering from those diseases.
Hello, my name is Mia Henley, and I'm the Executive Director of Creative Aging Memphis. Since 2004, Creative Aging has activated the minds, hearts, and spirits of seniors living throughout Memphis and Shelby County through active engagement with music and arts programs. We work with seniors who are independent, nursing homes, seniors who participate at senior centers and in library programs, and one very special group of seniors that we work with are seniors who suffer from Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. I'm going to let Sarah Todd, an employee of Alzheimer and Dementia Services, tell you why increasing arts access for the seniors that she serves is so important and why it will make such a difference in their lives.
Hi, my name is Sarah Todd, and I work here at Dorothy's Place and Kennedy's Park with Alzheimer's and Dementia Services of Memphis. During my years here, Creative Aging and their partnership with us and them being able to send out different artists to do music, to do workshops, storytelling, the drum circle has been so instrumental in helping us to do what we do here. A lot of them don't have the resources at home. Their caregivers don't have the resources at home to provide activities or the stimulation that we can. And especially now with us being in a pandemic and having COVID, the families are more stressed than ever. We had a friend here, he's not very verbal, but if you turn on any kind of music, his favorite are the Beverly Brothers. He asks me all the time, even though he has dementia, he's very lucid when it comes to music. He will ask all the time, when are those two men, the Beverly Brothers? Now, mind you, he doesn't talk any other time. And they come out, he dances and dances with us holding him up, of course, but he's still able to dance. And that improves his quality of life. Here, we want to be a home to them, a home away from home. We want them to be active. We want them to be jovial. It's so just revved up whenever the live musicians come because they see them, they hear them, they feel the music. Everybody's just in such a great mood because, like I say, even though they're not verbal, they can't move as well as they used to, they can feel that energy, and the energy is it's just positive, and it just makes you want to feel good. And if you can't stand up, it makes you want to tap your foot or tap your leg or shake your arms, whatever they're able to do. That's what we encourage them to do, and that's what the musicians encourage them to do. And all of that makes them have a better quality of life. Just appreciate y'all. And
thanks so much, Creative Aging. Next up, we have Crosstown Arts. As a first-time applicant and finalist, they are seeking support for their youth theater company. which supplements the education of children who attend schools that lack funding for arts programs. During these virtual times, they are seeking support to help these kids continue to create and perform.
My name is Christopher Miner. I'm Executive Director of Crosstown Arts and co-founder of Crosstown Concourse. This is our first time to apply for the GiVE 365 grant, so thank you very much for letting us be a finalist. Short overview of Crosstown Arts. We were founded in 2010, a 501c3 organization to renovate the former Sears building and also create a contemporary arts center here. And so 10 years later, we are the programming arm, you might say, of Crosstown Concourse. So all of the art, music, and film, and performance, and theater activities that happen on site here are all programmed by Crosstown Arts. While Crosstown Arts' mission was to serve the creative community, the building's mission is more to serve the neighborhood through economic development and other non-arts uses. And the Crosstown Youth Theater program really is kind of the perfect blend of that, because the 26 kids that are all in this program, some of whom have been working with Jazzy, who founded the program since they were in 6th grade, are now graduating seniors. All those kids either live in the Crosstown neighborhood, or their families work in Crosstown, or they go to school in the neighborhood. And so this program really is kind of the perfect expression of what Crosstown Arts and Crosstown Concourse were wanting to do.
Greetings. My name is Jasmine Miller, and I'm the theater director of Crosstown Arts, as well as the founder of the Crosstown Youth Theater Company. And I would say that the projects that we do not only relate to the GiVE 365 theme, but that everything we do relates to the GiVE 365 theme. All of the kids in our program are persons of color who have a connection to this community, to this neighborhood. And we're able to go and pick up kids after school, bring them back to the building, and cultivate an environment where they can tell their own stories in their own voices that reflect their own experiences in their own neighborhood and their respective cultures. We are asking for funding for 5 iPads. Our program consists of 3 main components, and that is performance, writing, and mentorship. And as we all know, in a world of COVID, it's been really hard to stay connected. Currently, what's been getting us by is I go from house to house with my cell phone, and I let the kids come outside and grab my phone out of the mailbox. They record and rehearse whatever story they need to record, and then they bring it back out, put it in their mailbox, and I wipe it off with a Lysol wipe and go to the next house. That's how we've been getting by. We would love to expand that with those iPads, as we are currently still in the pandemic and might be for some time. But even after the pandemic, we would love for kids to be able to type their own scripts, write out their own scripts on an iPad, as well as use software that would be available through an Apple product like Adobe Creative Cloud. And so we would like to thank you for considering us for the GiVE 365 grant, and we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Next up is another familiar face. We have Indie Memphis. This time they are seeking support for their Black Creators Forum that aims to ease the barrier of entry for Black artists to work in film. This forum features workshops, panels, meetups, and everything artists need to get access.
Hello, GiVE 365 community. My name is Knox Shelton, and I am the Executive Director of Indie Memphis. At Indie Memphis, we seek to create community through film. In order for us to create a true community through film, we must ensure there are equitable opportunities for our most underrepresented voices to share their art. In 2018, we launched the Black Creators Forum, a game-changing opportunity for Memphis to be an international hub for Black independent filmmaking. The goal is to ease the barrier of entry for Black artists wishing to work in film. Producers, storytellers, musicians, and other artists from all over have attended to connect with acclaimed directors like Boots Riley. Here with me today is our programmer Kayla Myers to provide an overview.
Hello everyone, I'm Kayla Myers, and at Indie Memphis, we consider the Black Creators Forum as an umbrella term for a variety of programs, including year-round programming such as our Black Independence Film Series, year-round grant making with the Black Screenwriter Fellowship and Residency, and really the heart of this all is the forum. As Knox mentioned, easing the barrier to entry is the main goal, and our grants programs, including the residency and fellowship, provide the material support, particularly money and time, for Black artists locally and nationally to create work and connect with people who can uplift and ensure their visions. Raven Jackson, our 2019 resident, was able to connect with Barry Jenkins, the filmmaker selecting the projects for the BCF residency that year. And from that connection, now his production company, We Pastel, is working with A24 to produce Raven's film, All Dirt Roads, Taste of Salt. It was through the residency that Raven had 2 months to write and connect with Memphis filmmakers who were being recruited to work on her major film being shot in the Memphis area. Film is an inherently collaborative medium, as is the community created by the annual forum itself. Black creatives meet for 2 days to share resources, ask questions, and have the space for nuanced conversations about Black art, the lineages it stems from throughout the African diaspora, and the possibilities of Black independent filmmaking. BCF nurtures a safe space for honesty about the challenges of this work, but it also provides a space for answers, community in navigating it, and centers the development of Memphis filmmakers. The BCF connects Memphis Black creatives to filmmakers, industry, and critics from across the U.S. and the world, and connects the international community to Memphis as a new important capital of Black independent filmmaking. Indie Memphis would be honored for this community support and joining us in continuing to open avenues for Black independent filmmaking. Thank you so much.
Maybe not. Hi, everyone. My name is Sari, and I have the great privilege of serving on the GiVE 365 A team and also as a team captain for this year's grant review. For the first organization that I'd like to put forward to the finals, it's the Memphis Library Foundation. We were excited about this project because of the way that it intentionally designed to increase access to services for Spanish-speaking ESL learners by taking the English classes into the community rather than asking individuals to come to the library themselves. Our team also really liked the fact that this is such a collaborative project, as the library plans to collaborate together with Literacy Mid-South and also other partners like Latino Memphis and La Prensa to make this a successful program.
Hi, I'm Christine. And I'm Anna. And we're asking for your support to host English as a second language classes in local parks. Library programs increase educational access for underserved communities. We've expanded our Spanish language programs, but sometimes struggle to recruit participants. Many are afraid to enter government buildings. The library's CodeCrew outreach team overcomes this barrier by hosting programs at parks, community centers, laundromats, and more. Participants in their bilingual programs have requested ESL classes. GiVE 365 funding would launch ESL classes in local parks, which are already familiar to the Latino community, and provide anonymity for those who are afraid to enter government buildings. Offering this service outdoors also mitigates the risk of COVID. Over 28% of COVID cases in Shelby County are among our Hispanic and Latino residents, who represent less than 7% of our community. We must meet people where they are to best serve them. This program does all of that while meeting a critical need.
Many Central and South American countries don't offer library access, so bringing our programs is often a first introduction to library services for our Hispanic and Latino neighbors. Working in bilingual outreach, I see that hesitancy native Spanish speakers have to approach a library program. Often, I engage children first with music and art activities, which builds trust with the adults and helps them become more curious about library services. For example, one family last fall at Audubon Park, consisting of an older man, 2 tween boys, and a younger man, were sitting down to eat. As I engaged the older man and tweens, the younger man was standoffish. Yet, when I walked away, he asked if libraries offer ESL programs in parks. What a great idea, I told him. We'll look into it. And his idea inspired me. I know our proposed ESL classes in parks will change people's lives. It will give an essential tool for success while connecting them to more library services.
The Hispanic and Latino community is often overlooked in our majority-minority city. This means thousands of our neighbors have limited access to services they need to survive and thrive. Teaching English in a safe and non-threatening environment while building trust and connecting them to a myriad of other services is transformative. They've asked for this service, and a Give 365 grant of just $5,000 can bring it to them, to up to 1,600 people. Thank you so much for considering our project and for all you do for Memphis.
Thank you. For the second organization, we'd love to put forward Man Up Teacher Fellowship. Our team was especially drawn to their clear mission of building up a pipeline of male teachers of color, which meets a very specific need in our community. We also thought their application was particularly strong because of the way that their board and leadership really embody the mission, where their board and staff are primarily made up of individuals who are Black and people of color and who have a strong expertise in the education system.
Hi, my name is Patrick Washington. Thank you for considering Man Up Teacher Fellowship as a finalist for the Give Memphis 365 Equity Through Access Grant. I'm standing in an empty hallway in an elementary school here in the city of Memphis. For almost a year, schools throughout the city and county were empty because of COVID-19 pandemic. And now the students are beginning to transition to in-person learning. Leaders in Shelby County schools and throughout our state and country are faced with an even more difficult challenge. How are they going to recover the learning loss because students were at home learning virtually? Man Up Teacher Fellowship has been committed to the work of making sure that students, particularly those in high poverty, high minority communities, have access to highly qualified licensed teachers, as well as improving the quality of life for students who wouldn't otherwise have access to a highly effective teacher in their classroom. Thank you for this opportunity to share more about how we do this work and why the money that is available through this grant will help us have greater impact in Memphis and Shelby County. Now that so many of our students are returning to school for in-person learning, the question is, how are we going to ensure that scholars receive the best instruction possible and recover the learning that was lost due to the COVID-19 pandemic? In order to obtain a teaching license in Tennessee and in most states throughout our country, aspiring teachers have to pass the praxis exam. On average, 62% of Black teachers and 43% of Hispanic teachers fail the praxis. We developed Praxis Academy in partnership with ETS, which is the company that developed the praxis, to equip aspiring teachers with the skills necessary to pass the praxis exam. Once these teachers pass the praxis exam, they will be teaching in communities throughout Memphis and Shelby County where many students wouldn't have access to highly qualified licensed teachers. The funding from this grant would give us an opportunity to expand this opportunity to more aspiring teachers in our communities. When we provided this opportunity earlier this year, as soon as we opened the application pool, in just 2 hours, we had over 200 applicants. We thank you for the opportunity to help us give access to highly qualified licensed teachers through funding with this grant that will give us many more opportunities to provide Praxis Academy to more aspiring teachers throughout Memphis and Shelby County. Thank you.
All right, and for my third and final organization, I'd like to put forward SchoolSeed Foundation. This project is a continuation of their equity speaker series and takes a unique approach to improving literacy with an emphasis on equity. We really were drawn to this grant because although the project funds a very specific school and a specific set of teachers within that school, we really saw this as kind of a pilot. We think that this project could have a ripple effect across Shelby County, and these teachers who are going through this professional development training will then be able to facilitate this training for other teachers across Shelby County as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Sam O'Brien. I'm the Senior Director for Equity and Partnerships with SchoolSeed Foundation. We are honored and we are pleased to represent and partner with Shelby County Schools as we embark on empowering equity through literacy. We're here right now located at Hawkins Mill Elementary School in an effort to help cultivate genius through the help of Dr. Michael Lowe and Dr. Goldie Muhammad. What you will see over the next few clips is pictures of the school, students at work, and our overall effort to make this all happen. So thank you again for the opportunity. We hope not to disappoint.
As we talk about cultivating genius and providing an equity framework for our culturally and historically responsive literacy circles at Hawkins Mill, we have to remember that identity matters. Identity was one of the first things to be stripped from enslaved Africans. Thus, it became key for people of color to know themselves so they could tell their own stories. And consequently, identity was also one of the first areas we sought to reclaim. And that's what we're trying to reclaim in our literacy circles at Hawkins Mill Elementary. We are cultivating identity, and we're seeking to teach culturally and linguistically responsive youth. Hello. We are in the cafeteria of Hawkins Mill Elementary School. We are on the verge of seeking to change the course of a lot of our young people's lives with literacy as we look to empower equity through literacy at Hawkins Mill. Dr. Guldi Muhammad and Cultivating Genius is the text and the literacy circle that we want to start at Hawkins Mill as we look at not looking at standards but pursuits for our young people. Pursuits in advancing their joy of reading, pursuits in criticality of what they're reading, and also their identity in everything that they read. So we are seeking to, again, bring about a change empowering literacy through equity at Hawkins Mill Elementary School. Our young people are ready, our teachers are willing, and we are about to get started with the work. We're grateful for the opportunity, and we are seeking to cultivate genius with all of our scholars at Hawkins Mill Elementary. Students must see themselves in their learning. Our students at Hawkins Mill, and arguably all of our adults, they're always looking for themselves in spaces and places. Before we get to literacy skill development such as decoding, fluency, comprehension, or writing, or any other content learning standards, our students at Hawkins Mill must authentically see themselves in the learning.
Thank you, SchoolSeed Foundation. Good evening. My name is Carrie Campbell, and I'm a 3-year member of GiVE 365. For each of those years, I have had the privilege of serving on our advisory team, fondly known as the A-Team, and on grant review. This year, I had the honor of serving as team captain for the grant review team known as the Elevators. And we are so excited to share with you 3 organizations for consideration for this year's finals. First up, we have Choices, the Memphis Center for Reproductive Health, and their Increasing Midwifery Access in Memphis project. We chose Choices because of their explicit commitment to improving reproductive health and birth outcomes for women of color, and their dedication to providing culturally competent care by hiring diverse medical and support staff that truly looks like the citizens of Memphis.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pepper, the Executive Director at Choices, otherwise known as the Memphis Center for Reproductive Health. What Choices does is truly revolutionary. We provide the full spectrum of sexual and reproductive healthcare services under one roof, and we understand that all of our services are essential. Services include medication and procedural abortions, gender-affirming hormone management for transgender patients, prenatal and birth services, as well as an array of wellness services, including family planning, STI testing and treatment, and breast exams. Choices knows that it is important for your provider to look like you and to understand your lived experiences. And we couldn't be more proud to employ 3 of only 4 Black midwives in the Mid-South region. We are providing high-quality, patient-centered care to those in our community who have traditionally had the least access and the fewest options.
Hi, my name is Talita Osagera. I'm one of the nurse midwives here at Choices, Memphis Center for Reproductive Health. For people of color in this country, there is a legacy of racism and violence that's still ever present in the maternal healthcare system today. Black women are experiencing obstetric racism and violence, leading to alarming near-death experiences. Furthermore, Black women are also dying at the same treatment related to their pregnancies at the rates that are up to 12 times that of white women nationally. So part of the solution to the Black maternal health crisis is ensuring that at minimum, Black patients are receiving quality prenatal care and adequate education opportunities that are both informative, that are bias-free, also evidence-based. Some level of our education is provided during the prenatal care visit. We're also acutely aware of the challenge it is in providing the level of education necessary in that limited amount of time. And that's where prenatal and pregnancy childbirth education comes into play. The GiVE 365 funding will be used to purchase models, education tools, and the ability to print materials that our patients can read and keep. This will enable them with information that they need in ways that are effective and accessible to them. Choices wants to end racial disparities in maternal health in the Mid-South region. We hope that you'll help us get one step closer to providing quality pregnancy and childbirth education.
Thank you, Choices. Next, we have Casaluz with DVSTAS, Domestic Violence Equity for Survivors Through Access to Services. As the only organization in Memphis exclusively serving Hispanic crime victims, we realize that their work facilitating access to justice and social services in a way that's both culturally sensitive and empowering is invaluable to our community and needs to be expanded.
Hola, I'm Inés Negrete, founder and executive director of Casaluz, the first and only nonprofit organization in the Memphis and Shelby County area that culturally and exclusively serves Hispanic Latinx victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, human trafficking, stalking, and other violent crimes. Services provided are culturally specific, meaning that the person's cultures and beliefs are taken into account when providing services. Casaluz's journey has been uphill and full of resistance, humiliation, and threat, just for speaking up on behalf of our clients. But at Casaluz, our determination to serve some of the most vulnerable in our society is stronger. Immigrant victims have to face extra barriers such as language, fear of law enforcement, lack of knowledge of legal rights, fear of deportation, and lack of trust in the judicial system. Our clients have no place to go. They are far away from family and friends, and in many cases, a woman is brought to this country by her U.S. citizen husband who never applied for lawful permanent resident status on her behalf. So his threat of taking her children away and having her deported are weapons to keep her from reaching out for help. Hispanic immigrant victims have been victim blamed and mistreated in places where they should have been helped. And many times law enforcement uses children as interpreters, which re-traumatize children and result on inaccurate statements. When Casaluz was founded, our main focus was to provide advocacy services, but due to the lack of local support, the lack of culturally sensitivity trainings in the local law enforcement, the judicial system, and other organizations, we had to step up and expand our services. Casaluz provides legal advocacy, accompaniment to court, filing of retraining orders in our office, weekly support group, individual counseling for adults and children, referral for free immigration and civil legal services, among others. Casaluz opened its door in 2016 thanks to the support of the federal government, and we have continued providing services with government support. Since opening, we have served 658 new clients, assisted hundreds of ongoing cases, and provided thousands of services. Our team made changes to face COVID-19, but we never closed our door and have continued assisting clients. The pandemic has affected the chances of hosting fundraising events that through the year have helped us to cover operational expenses not covered under the restricted funds we have. In December 2020, Casaluz was seriously struggling in terms of funding. The pandemic caused an increase in domestic violence incidents, and the need for our services increases as well. 2021 started with a more promissory horizon. We have received support from local funders, and today your interests bring hope to our work, to our organization, and to the Hispanic community for a more diverse, open-minded, and safer city for all, because at the end of the day, we all belong to one race, the human race.
Thank you, Casaluz. Finally, we have the Community Legal Center, helping low-income divorcing parents. Family law matters, divorces, child support, and custodial agreements, they're sensitive. And navigating the family court system can be complicated and daunting. But CLC's Pro Se clinics offer a clientele of primarily minority women the guidance needed to peacefully resolve marital and family discord, achieve justice, and receive the financial support needed for families to thrive.
When we were kids, we were all told fairy tales where couples would get married and live happily ever after. Unfortunately, in real life, that's not always how the story ends. Take, for example, our client Katrina. She married and thought it would last forever until the abuse started. Abuse that eventually cost her an organ. Thankfully, she was able to escape her abuser, but she was still stuck in an unbearable marriage, unable to rent an apartment, buy a car to drive to work, or get much needed child support, all because she couldn't afford the court costs and the legal fees associated with getting an attorney, and she had no way of knowing how to navigate the complex legal system all on her own. I'm Jerry Green, and I'm the Interim Executive Director of the Community Legal Center, and for over 25 years, we have been resolving legal problems like Katrina's, impacting our community and changing lives for the better. In that time, we've answered over 70,000 calls for help. We serve those people who make too much to qualify for legal aid, but not enough to pay for an attorney. They fall in what's often called the justice gap. And we believe that regardless of a person's ability to pay or their circumstances in life, everyone deserves access to our court systems and to justice. As a part of that mission for the last 15 years, we have operated a pro se divorce clinic with a trained staff attorney. Many people in our community feel stuck in unworkable or unbearable abusive marriages, all because they can't afford to hire an attorney for a divorce. So our clients, all of whom are lower income, 90% of whom are persons of color, mostly Black mothers, come to us for help. And we help them get the needed paperwork filed, and with our assistance, they're more likely to have successful outcomes. This not only improves court efficiencies, but it changes the lives of our clients and their children and our community at large as they start anew. With this grant, we can open our Pro Se clinic 3 days instead of 2 and help even more people who are underserved in our community get much desired legal resolutions, much needed child support, and much deserved fresh starts. In short, we help create greater access, and when we do, we give them hope for the future. And we hope that you will help us help more people in need get the legal care that only we can provide and give them their happily ever after eventually, like we did with Katrina. Thank you.
And that was our last finalist. Thanks so much. As we wrap up this evening, I actually want to thank a lot of people who were critical in tonight's event. First, thanks to our friends and fellow Give 365 members at Forever Ready Production. They are the minds and the keyboards behind this amazing virtual event. So huge thanks to them. Also, thanks to the Community Foundation staff for supporting this event like any other that we would have in person. And also a huge thanks to all of our presenters, the nonprofits who are all doing amazing work to give access and elevate the quality of life for communities of color. We appreciate your contributions to making our community a greater place. Thanks to the A-Team Grant Review Team captains, those who could participate tonight, and all of you all for leading your grant teams through this grant cycle. Thanks so much. And thanks again to the grant review team members, Baba and Alex, both thanked them in the beginning, but for reading, reviewing, researching, meeting virtually, we appreciate you getting us down to this amazing list of finalists. Now for the voting instructions. Each household or membership has one vote. A voting link will only be sent to one email. So be sure to put your heads together about your voting decisions. If you do not get the voting link, which will go out in just a few minutes, please let me know. Just a reminder, you'll rank your top 5 finalists with number 1 being the top priority. We encourage you to do your own research. All 15 of the grant finalists are on the Give 365 website with your applications, and links to their Live, Give, Mid-South profiles. Their profiles have a lot more information about their organizations themselves and the work that they do day in and day out. And a recording of this live stream will be available following the event. So read, research, rewatch if you need to, and then vote. Again, if you are not a member yet and you still want to join, you still have the opportunity to do so. If you are inspired and you can't wait to vote for one of these finalists, you can join us at give365memphis.org. Voting will close on Monday, April 26th at midnight. This gives you a few weeks to do your recon and cast your votes. After April 26th, the votes will be analyzed and the grantees will be announced on May 11th. This announcement will be via email and also live at the Community Foundation of Greater Memphis annual meeting. Thank you all so much for attending tonight. Take care. Happy voting.